All right, let's get started. Select your brush library and your paw print stamp. So we're going to be using the stamps on all of these. It's just, it's a time saver, so we're just going to use stamps. You can certainly hand draw anything you want, but I just have given you stamps. Select your black in your paw print palette. Make sure the size is at 100%. And color drop the black into each of the elements of the paw print. Go back to your brush set, select the dot brush, come over to your palette, and this first blue that's in the second row, select it, and put the size at about a 2 to 3%. And this, we're just outlining all of the elements of the paw print. Now, I've already got this, I already did this because sometimes you can get into really weird positions when you're filming these tutorials, and I wanted to make sure I did a decent job, because you can see just doing those, I'm a little bit wonky. So you go ahead and do that, outline yours, and I'm going to be bringing in, I'm going to clear this out and bring in the one that I've already done. So I'm just going to copy that canvas that I've already done into this canvas. So there is my layer one. Now, what we're going to be doing is a new layer for every color. But when I did this, I put them both on the same color, and it's fine. If you want the ability to have your entire design editable, you want to have a new layer for every color. So from here on out, we're going to go ahead and have a new layer for every color. But for me, I already had these two together, so I'm just going to leave it that way. So come up here to your layers, add a new layer. Come over to your brush library, pick up the dot flower and your palette. Let's come to this brightest pink. Size should be about 12%. Oop. Didn't quite get it. There we go. And then just randomly stamp that size flower, and then come in, let's pick up a new color, let's say the blue, bring the size down. So you want different color and different sizes, and just randomly stamp. You can use anything you would want. Again, this is just what I've given you. So then we're coming in for the orange, and I've already screwed up. I did not make a new layer for my blue. So come back, let's redo that. Look at that. Okay, new layer. Woo. And I still have it. Oop, nope, I think I must have, let's see, 9%. All right, let's make our blue have its own layer. Okay, now, again, new layer. Do the orange, bring it down to a 7%. And that one got over a little bit. I'm just going to redo that one. Okay, new layer. And let's pick up the purple and bring this down, the size down to 5%. Now again, if you don't care if you want to ever edit any of the colors or whatever, you can put this all on one layer. You don't have to worry about making new layers. But if you want to be able to change the colors, then you want to keep it, every color have its own layer. Okay, so now new layer, and let's do our centers for the flowers. And we're just going to pick up the dot. And 2 to 3, let's see, this size should be okay for these smaller ones. And that's a little bit big for the purple. I usually like to just do one size for 2 of them, so that's better. So we're going to try to hit all of these purple and oranges. It's so funny because I have not the best eyesight, and I have to kind of keep my head away so that the camera can focus on the iPad. So this is really close-up work for me, and it's really tough. So some of my centers are probably not the best, but you know, I'm trying. Man. Must be holding my eye pencil a little weird because it's a little off. All right, and then I'll move it up to the 4 or 5%. And do the bigger ones. At least the bigger ones are a little bit easier. All right, there. Oh, missed one. I always miss something, let me tell you. Oh, and I see I missed an orange here too. So bring that down to the 2 and put that in. Okay, I usually always miss something. All right, so now we still have some black. So let's create a new layer, and let's do this green. I have 2 different greens. I actually kind of changed my mind. I was doing them darker, and I've changed them. That's the reason why I added these 2 to the palette. So I'm going to be using the lighter green that's in the second row. And in your brush library, select the Swirl Simple. And I think this is probably 2-3% is fine. You can make it as big or as small as you'd like, and just kind of fill in some of the blank space just to give it some more interest. You can see this can be very meditative. It's like doing a Zentangle type of piece because it's very meditative. Now, if you don't like that kind of repetitious kind of work, you may not like this. And I think I just somehow when I get my hands on the iPad, I switch it over to the eraser. Okay, And so now we have one more element. So create one more new layer, and it's going to be the pink, the lighter pink, and the brush is just the dot. And we're going to do it 2 to 3% again. Again, it's whatever your preference is, but just add a little bit more color, a little bit more interest. We will be adding the overlay to give texture. This is just one overlay. You can do whatever you want to create your texture. Yep, did it again. Hit the iPad and went to the eraser. Oop, I missed a middle there. Let me finish the dots on here, and I'm going to go back and pick up that middle. You just have to come into the centers, the yellow, and select the yellow. And there you go. Okay. All right, so now you have all of your elements on different layers. And what you want to do is you want to group them. Because you want, as long as they're in a group, you want to keep one group that is, you can keep the integrity of everything that will make it, you have the ability to make edits to it. But in order to put an overlay on it and get into blending modes, you have to flatten. So what we're going to do is we grouped all of these, and now we're going to duplicate that group. And I'm going to actually bring this down, and I'm going to shut this off. So this is the originals, and you want to keep these, and you don't want to use these unless you need to come back in and make some edits. And then for this one, you can just click on it and say flatten, and so now everything is in one layer. And now from this, we're going to bring in, you're going to insert the overlay that I've given you. The old brush texture. And then come back up here so you have your inserted image of the overlay. And you're going to click on that, and you're going to select Clipping Mask. And now you're like, okay, well, what happened to all the dots we just did? Well, now we're going to come in and we're going to add a little color to the clipping mask, to that texture, and the texture is going to, you're going to be able to see that texture with all the dots. So we're going to take this teal color and we're going to just drop it into the clipping mask. And now you come over here and you press on the blending modes, and then you start looking at what the different blending modes you can get, the different looks you can get with the blending modes. Really cool stuff. I personally like the overlay. If you see how it brings through the texture on the flowers, this is the blending mode that I like the most. But you can choose whatever blending mode you want. You know, you've got a lot of choices, and you can also change the opacity to give you the exact look that you want. You can also oops, let me put this back. Let me put this back on overlay because that's the one I like. And You can also come over here to the adjustments and go into hues and saturation and change the colors of the dots that you just did and get different looks. And what you can do then is you can actually save them in create then a whole, I don't know where I'm going, you can create a seamless pattern to make fabric with different color patterns with the different colors of the dots based on the adjustments that you make. But there's a lot you can do with this. You can take this and turn off the background, save it as a PNG, and you can upload it to any of the print-on-demand sites, and you can create it to make anything you want.